Alright, what's going on everybody? Anime Ramble back with another episode. Today we'll be discussing Kaiju number 8, chapter 104. What is going on? Well, if you remember from the last chapter, we had the continuation of Mina being absorbed by Kaiju number 9. He activated his trump card, that being Kaiju number 14. When it was taken down by Mina, it activated the opposing white-faced Kaiju that was by Kaiju number 9, allowing him to teleport to where Mina's location is. And after that, Mina ended up getting captured by Kaiju number 9, and from that, the absorption process, the same one that we saw him use with Isayo, has begun with Mina. Now, in my previous video, I had mentioned that this seems to be taking a very long time, considering just how quickly Isayo was absorbed by Kaiju number 9. I'm confused about just what exactly is taking so long with Mina in this situation, considering how fast it happened with Isayo. But we're able to see this play out in its entirety, and at the beginning and throughout chapters 104, Mina is quite literally fighting for her life. She's running around, she's blasting the different kaijus that are inside of Kaiju number 9's body, because that's what he's using to have this assault against Mina. You have Bako fighting on the outside, that's giving her a little bit of wiggle room. That could be the difference between Isayo and Mina. Isayo didn't have anybody quick enough to help interfere with the absorption process, so that's a plus for Mina's half. She also has the ability and the graciousness to have weapons on her side. Isayo didn't have that at his disposal. There's a lot of different things that have come from this, but however, the important things that we should take away from this, what I really want to discuss, is just how long Kaiju number 9 has been around on this planet. You see from this chapter Kaiju number 9 talking, and he mentioned it. He says no one has ever, no matter what the era, managed to escape from this dimension that they're in currently. And the faces that you see aren't just Isayo's, but then you have a samurai, and then you also have somebody from the feudal era, right? Both of which are from Japan. It goes to show just how long Kaiju number 9 has been around on this planet, probably since the formation of it, or as far back as the feudal era of Japan. This goes hand in hand with the flashbacks that we see when Kafka was training with Isayo on the mountainside. There was that samurai ghost that appeared in front of Kaiju number 8, and to this day we still don't know who that is. We don't know why they appeared in front of Kaiju number 8 and Kafka. But with this chapter, you get a little bit of insight. Maybe not from this chapter, but definitely from the previous chapter where he mentioned no one's ever escaped from this dimension, not even. But then that kind of leads back to chapters 103, where even though he said there is going to be no help for you, Isayo can't help you, the defense force can't help you, not even myself. And Mina was like, huh, what do you mean by that? And I just think it leads to more of a conversation about where Kaiju number 8 actually came from. It might just be a part of Kaiju number 9, but that's a theory for another video. It just didn't make sense as to why he would mention that he himself can't even save you in this dimension, when he himself is not trying to save Mina in this dimension. He's trying to actively absorb her. So what did he mean by that? It could be a situation of Kaiju number 8 being a part of Kaiju number 9. Probably the last bit of sanity that he had left, the last bit of good that he had left. He had to get rid of that motherfucker, and he created Kaiju number 8 as a result of that. Who knows, really? What we do know is that Kaiju number 9 is not new to this era of Japan. He has been around for quite a long time. Could he have been in hiding a little bit? Remember when we see that Kaiju at the edge of the water, there is no confirmation that he died, but he did retreat into the water. And where do we see Kaiju number 9? Where do we see his base? We see his base at the bottom of the ocean, or at the bottom of a trench, a very dark cavern type of ravine that he seems to make his home base whenever he's making these Daikaijus. We see it in the flashbacks of Kaiju number 15. And if Kaiju number 9 has been around since the feudal era of Japan, it makes sense as to why he has hundreds upon hundreds of Kaiju within his body. He's probably had to do this body switch multiple times, and I don't think him being able to absorb physical matter is solely linked to humans and humans only. He's probably able to absorb Daikaijus and Kaijus of lower rank time and time again, but he's using those Kaijus as a means to overwhelm Mina, which we could also parallel as to how he was able to overtake Isayo. Send waves upon waves of Kaijus to Mina in this dimension, and then once she gets absorbed, it's pretty much GG's after that. Now, I mentioned earlier, it's not just Mina fighting on the inside that is able to hold off these kaijus, at least to some degree. We do see in this chapter she is inevitably absorbed by the kaijus that are within inside of kaiju number 9. However, with Bako fighting on the outside, and you might be wondering, okay, well, why is Bako able to fight? Well, it's because Mina has some form of ability that allows her to be able to tame, to some degree, kaijus or very rare type of kaijus that don't really operate as a kaiju, operate more of an animal. Because keep in mind, Bako is a tiger, and we really don't see too many pure animal forms of kaiju in this series. They're pretty monstrous, the kaijus that we've seen, to every degree. Bako has the gracious ability to present as a tiger but be a kaiju in every other capacity, even the abilities to regenerate. Again, that's a story for another video, just off the strength that she possesses this ability. It makes you wonder. But sadly to say, none of this is enough. Bako is not enough on the outside to actually pose any real threat to Daikaiju number 9. And Mina is not strong enough in this dimension, nor does she have the weaponry to be able to take on hundreds of waves of kaijus that are all gunning for her at the exact same time. She essentially has no backup. That is until the very end of this chapter, when Kafka actually manages to swoop in and offer the support that she always needed. Because there's a lot of self-doubt coming from Mina in this chapter. She's not able to protect the ones that she loved. She's not able to protect the ones that were already lost. And you know, this weighs heavily on her mind. She says that she's never going to forget the people, and it's all overwhelming. And then that's when Kid Kafka appears in her mind, and she realizes that this isn't just another trick from Kaiju number 9 using Kafka's face to lull her into a sense of false security. No, this is actually Kafka having managed to catch up to them, find Kaiju number 9, find Mina, and offer the support that she always needed. And from this, you actually get a speed feat that even managed to take Kaiju number 9 by surprise. Not only just take him by surprise, but actually managed to take his arm in the process. Okay, Kafka and Kaiju number 8 are about to square off against Kaiju number 9. However, this doesn't seem to be the place where I think that their next fight is actually going to take place. I think Kaiju number 9 is actually going to cut his losses, let Mina go, and escape through the same way that he got there. Because in my opinion, this could be a hot take. I don't think Kaiju number 9 is on the level of Kaiju number 8 currently. I think Kaiju number 8 could definitely take Kaiju number 9. It would be a high diff fight, but I think me personally and also Kaiju number 9 understand that he isn't going to win this. I think he's going to cut his losses. I think he's going to have whatever kaijus are still available, still on their feet, scoop up the ones that have lost if he wants to, and retreat back to the cave in the middle of the ocean where he knows he's going to be safe. Because no matter how powerful the Defense Force members are, they are still human at the end of the day, and there's only so far that they can dive. There's only so long they can hold their breath. There's only so much utility they have fighting, not just in the ocean, but under the water. So it's going to be a safe place for Kaiju number 9 to regroup. He's going to start making his next batch of Daikaijus, humanoid Daikaijus, and then he's going to proceed with another plan. But at the same time, I still think he is going to have a massive takeaway from this. Not just knowledge and understanding of the actual threat that he has to work with. I think that there is something that he is going to take from the fight physically, and that's going to be able to aid him in the next part of his plans. As of right now, while Daikaijus 11 through 15 have been taken out, technically he does have a 16th Daikaiju that hasn't made an appearance, at least not that we know of. The one I'm talking about is the massive white Daikaiju that we've seen pop up once and then disappear. That might be a trump card that he unleashes upon Japan right now so that he could make his escape, or he could just cut his losses and hopefully try to walk through the white face stone Daikaiju that we saw with Daikaiju number 14. It's a possibility. The real question is, where does the Defense Force go from here, right? Where is the next logical leap of power going to be obtained from here? Now, naturally, you have Kikoru. She could always train harder with the Daikaiju number 4 weapon that she has. Same thing with Narumi with Daikaiju number 1, even though he seems to be the most capable and battle hardened out of all of them. I think he could take the entire lot, truth be told, even Daikaiju number 9 had he been at full power currently. Reno, again, is just about honing the power of Daikaiju number 6 and how he wields it. Of course, you have the issues going on with Kafka, with him still slowly being consumed by Daikaiju number 8, which, now that I mention it briefly, of course, could have been the same thing that happened with Daikaiju number 9. way back in the past. That's just speculation, very loose headcanon if I'm being honest. But for Mina, there's really no reason why she doesn't have a numbered weapon. I would also like for a tighter unity between the other Defense Force member captains. Mina is over the 3rd Division. You have Narumi that's over the 1st Division. If I am to suggest that the power level of the captains corresponds to the number of the division that they oversee, then Narumi obviously would be the strongest out of all of them because he's over the 1st Division. However, we still haven't seen the power of the 2nd Division captain because he's dealing with his own area of Japan. However, I couldn't imagine that being that big of a deal considering all of the humanoid Daikaijus were fighting in the main areas. You know what I mean? Like, so what was keeping the 2nd Division and the 4th and the 5th Division captain so occupied that they couldn't offer backup? You know what I mean? It's gonna be a lot. They're gonna have to regroup, and truth be told, Kafka's gonna have to tap into whatever the ghost statue is, because that's what it corresponds to. Not only has Kaiju number 9 been around since the feudal era of Japan, that would also have to mean that Kaiju number 8 has been around since at least the samurai era, because the ghost that we saw was of a samurai, not of a feudal era type of person. You know what I mean? So at bare minimum, Kaiju number 8 has been around since the samurai era of Japan, right? Because that's the whole shtick of numbered weapons. They maintain the memories that the Kaiju had with the previous possessor of the numbered weapon. That's why Kikoru is able to see Hikari, because Hikari was the previous owner of the number 4 weapon, and the number 4 Kaiju, Daikaiju number 4, has those memories of Hikari. Same thing with Isayo, and the same thing with Narumi, and now, or well, not now, but because it was a previous chapter, we saw the ghost that Kafka was able to see. Well, that would only suggest that Kaiju number 8 has been around since the samurai era, and that was the person who had Kaiju number 8 before Kafka. Why did it take so long for there to be some sort of link? Well, we don't know, but that's what Kafka is going to have to be able to find out, and I think this might be a situation of that samurai being able to help slow the progression of Kaiju number 8 throughout his body, or it might be a little bit darker and more Attack on Titan-esque, where there's nothing that we can do for you, right? You have a select amount of years that you're allowed to live with the Titan, and nothing is going to stop that Titan from taking you over after, like, 13 years or some shit like that. It could be a similar situation to Kafka in that regard, right? We've already seen the rumbling type of descent that the fodder Kaiju had in Japan when Kaiju number 9 finally made his move. It could take some inspiration from Attack on Titans in that regard, but I think I've rambled on long enough. If you made it to the end, thank you. If you are new, go plus ultra and smash that subscribe button. Let me know you rock with the content that I put out on the channel. Like the video if you like the video, dislike the video if you dislike the video. Comment on the video your thoughts about what you think is going on and what is actually going to be the next step. Put down in the comments if you think that Kaiju number 8 has just been this roaming Kaiju of sorts looking for the perfect host, that being Kafka. But then you would have to wonder what makes Kafka special, what makes Mina special that she's able to tame Kaijus, what makes Reno special that he's able to synchronize so effortlessly with a Kaiju that has not been able to be synchronized with before. Let me know. Like always, until next time, I'm out.